Has anybody been paying attention? I just got off social media with a wrangling that somebody had started. There's all these science pages and posts showing up. And yes, by the way, I contradicted myself. I said I was getting off Facebook, and it's not that I lied. I truly was. And my friend said, "We need you back because we like reading your posts." So I built a whole new account and said, "Okay, whatever." I don't like Facebook. I don't like Mark Zuckerberg. He's a hypocrite. He supports a party that supports a bunch of false beliefs regarding CLIMATE. And if you say anything against that, that's actually based in truth, you will get censored on Facebook. They did it if you spoke about COVID-19. And the reason I spell it out and talk about it is because Google is caught up in that hypocrisy. They're the censorship Nazis of social media. The people that run these social media are oligarchs. They are rulers. They are fat bank accounts into the billions of dollars. Google pulls in about $10,000 a second. Check it out for yourself. Or minute, something. It's outrageous. And there's an old saying that I learned years ago. The golden rule, he who has the gold rules. You got the money, you got the power. And that's what's running the show in the US right now. But let's throw out a lot of hypocritical stuff. Let's talk about Biden can't even get his act together on the invasion of Normandy and all that. Biden is an idiot. I make no bones about it. I have no respect for him. The Bible says we're supposed to give respect to whom respect is due. I can't give respect to Biden. He's a doting fool. He's a geriatric ward. He can't walk up Air Force One without stumbling. But it's funny how clear-minded he is in his hatred and attack towards Donald Trump. But Biden, we need to talk about something. He uses that as a segue to say, that's why we need to fight in the Ukraine. This is the dumbass president of all time, and I would say it to his face. Sending weapons to the Ukraine, telling the Ukrainians to send them deep into Russia. Biden is not wise. He has provoked Putin. He claims people are leaving Russia. He's claiming people don't support him. The guy is an idiot. Putin won an election by a massive margin. His people like him. And I'm going to say this to Christians. We're getting beat up out there. Don't sit and take it. Fight back. Fight back with this. Hold that thought. I'm going to come back to it. The Bible's very clear in Ezekiel 38:39 about Gog and Magog, and that's no other country but Russia itself. It and many Muslim nations at some point in biblical history are going to come against Israel with the attempt of stamping it out. But lo, to their surprise, God Almighty is going to stand in because the U.S. will no longer be in a position to do so. And let me make it very clear. It's God himself who's going to have to rescue Israel. It's going to look like their disaster, that their annihilation is imminent. But God. Always remember what it says, but God. That means God's about to do something. We're laughed at for our faith. They use powerful words like science. Put that word in quotes. Science does not mean what it means today. It's been hijacked by secular atheists and is a faith-based religion. I just got off with some clown who wants to go back and forth, who had anime stuff and a picture of himself looking like a ninja warrior in Japan. Some white guy who's a wannabe toughie. Oh, that's a pretty bold statement you make. You need to prove. I don't need to prove a darn thing to you, kid. Evolution has no transitional life forms in the fossil record or the living record. You can go ahead and say whatever you want. It's all lies. You have no empirical evidence. And you hide behind the word science, which I put in quotes. It is a pseudoscience. Then somebody else jumped in there. They're like hyenas. Atheists are like hyenas. You get one nipping at you, and then you got the whole pack. And they thought, oh, watch this. We're going to tear up the Christian. And I don't even say a word about God. I don't even mention that I believe in the Bible. Some wag comes back and says, oh, you religionists always believe the lies. I said, you see, you throw out assumptions just like you do in pseudoscience. I'm not religious. When people say, oh, you're religious. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I believe in fact, not fable. And people said years ago that they liked my channel because I had a bold, unequivocal stance against evolution. And you know why? Because that is how I got saved. Somebody told me the truth about Cro-Magnon man. It was all a hoax. Dr. Louis A. Leakey was full of leaks. And you're not taught that in public school. The public school is not going to show you evidence of man and dinosaur tracks side by side in the same rock strata. They won't pull that stuff out, but it's there. It's there. Scientists in Texas, I don't know if they were building a highway or a housing project, they uncovered Earth where there were dino tracks and human tracks in the same strata. And the scientists came out to vandalize it because it's like, oh, that cannot be. Science is religion of atheist fools that do not want to believe in the truth. And they will manufacture and make up and lie and twist things. They'll see some bug and say, oh, well, this is proof that the whale came from a sauropod. It's horse crap. In the fossil record, you see T-Rex, you see Triceratops, you see sloths and dragonflies. In the living record, do you see Pacific with hairy ears? Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting older. Little hairs start to grow out of there on occasion. But do you see a monkey's tail? An evolutionist asked these fools two things. How did the last ice age disappear long before there was any factories, cars, trains, planes, and automobiles, plastics? They can't answer that. Remember, they're the ones yelling about spherical heating. I have to use that term. I have never thought I'd live to a day and age where you would be censored for believing the truth. That they'll use the word science like a baseball bat against Christians. What God wrote in that book in Genesis is the truth. Just because we live in a society that refuses to believe in it because they don't have faith in that. But they'll have faith to believe that a single cell organism just came out of nowhere and turned into you and me. That is as dumb as me believing that that pickup truck in somebody's driveway just happened by itself. Paul E. Little in the book, Know Why We Believe or Why You Believe, states this. What are the chances of a tornado going through a junkyard, picking up all the pieces out of that junkyard and assembling it into a freshly painted, brand new, state-of-the-art 747 ready for takeoff? What are the chances of that? It can't happen. But evolutionists want to sit here and laugh at people who are religious. It takes more faith to believe in that bullcrap called evolution. And I've had this argument with atheists again and again. There was a science teacher of the family that I took care of their estate for 7 years. One of their sons was an antagonist, and every time he came up from Colorado Springs as a public school teacher, and we all know that public school teachers got mental brainwash when they went for their teaching degree. They're all squeezed through the same funnel, believing the same crap that is mandated in the public sector, education-wise. And he would bring it up. I wouldn't talk about God with him. He'd always say, well, I got a problem with parents believing us. I said, you know what, dude? You're so convinced that your science is truth. And how come you bring this up to me every time? You know I'm a Christian. You know you're not going to change my mind. I don't even bring it up to you. You bring it up. I still think you're trying to prove to yourself that this is true. Oh, I don't need to prove it. I said, then why do you bring it up? I said, when you sat down in that chair and you came in to watch the football game, did you pick that chair up? Did you pick it up and inspect the legs? And he looked at me, no, what do you mean? I said, did you question the chair? Did you make sure there was no cracks in it? Did you, or did you sit in the chair? And he's looking at me like I'm retarded. He goes, I just sat in it, man. I said, yeah, you exercise faith. Oh, Mike, I did not exercise faith. I sat in the chair. I said, yeah, you believed it'd hold you up and not collapse, right? Gotcha, buddy. You go ahead and pull that. Christians have been intimidated by these evolutionists. Oh, big word. Oh, I got a science degree. You know what you do with this? Wipe your butt with it. If Genesis can be proven fallacious, then the entire Christian argument goes to the ground. Okay? Either there is God or there isn't. There is no half in between. And for Christians, silly, immature, cowardly Christians to embrace, well, maybe God used the vehicle of evolution. Well, we got a problem with that, honey. Genesis doesn't say evolution. It says God spoke into existence. Let there be, and there was. And then you got Christians, silly little Christians that want to argue, because Christians are intimidated by the noisy, loud gnashing of teeth of secularists that try to intimidate them. Oh, these religious people, they're so dumb. Christians, wake up. The devil's a mocker. He's an accuser of the brethren, and he's a liar. If Genesis is not true, then we have believed a lie. And Jesus doesn't exist as God, only God either. I don't need to prop up my religion because I don't believe in my religion. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. What is the definition of religion? Should we look it up? If I can grab this thing. Hey Siri, what is the definition of religion?
Religion means the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods.
Okay, I don't think that is entirely accurate. Atheists would tell you they don't believe in a God. But let me say something. Atheists believe they're a God. They believe that what they believe is absolute truth. Don't you dare question it, or they will mock you. Tell them to prove that evolution exists by the fossil record. They can't. They'll lie. They'll send me. And what I find with these people is they'll send me links. I said, you know what? I'm not even going to read this. It's the same crap you send all the time. If a person cannot look at the body, and this is what my biggest argument, we don't need to bring the Bible into counteracting evolutionists. You just need to bring basic common sense. And I am in no way saying the Bible is not common sense. The Bible is God ordained. And you have to realize when you're dealing with so-called pseudoscientists, the Bible says the natural man comprehendeth not the things of God. So unsaved, lost fools are not going to understand that book. They're going to laugh at it. They're going to call it a fairy tale. But look at an evolutionist and ask him how it is that this just happened by sheer randomness, that the eyes are exactly where they're located. There's symmetry, okay? There's symmetry. There's the ear. Why is there not an earlobe on my buttocks? Why is there not an eye at the bottom of the foot? How come my penis isn't growing out of my kneecap? See, evolutionists laugh when I say that to them. I said, boy, that's just funny that you just say that this all happened by a cosmic random accident, as if though there was no designer. And people that have trolled me and jumped on me in the past, they've never come up with anything. And you find this on the social media. They sit there, oh, that's a bold statement. Maybe you shouldn't talk about things you don't know. I have a science degree. Oh, she blinded me with science. Mononin, it's science. We actually got people with tinfoil hats in the US that actually believe that the evening news is telling the truth, that the public education system is valid, and that their degree is actually means that they're smarter than the rest of us. We also have a bunch of fools called the Democrats claiming that college and all that makes them better than Republicans, even though they're leading this country into the sewer. And Pacific has stood back and watched. I don't wear a suit and tie. Okay. I don't dress for success because to me, that doesn't prove a damn thing. I will look at my viewers right in the eye and say, who has brought this nation into more problems? Blue collar working class like myself, or the suits and ties that got a degree? Do I even need to answer that, or is it pretty self evident? College doesn't give you basic common sense. College doesn't give you basic argumentation or debate skills. It is a brainwash. You pay to go be lied to. You pass all the tests, you get a degree. It doesn't give you the experience. It doesn't mean that you believe the truth. It just means you got a college degree, bought and owned by the Democrat system, and that's how you get to ladder up in this world. You want a good job in this country where you can make big money, you got to buy into the BS to get your BS degree. Okay, that is a fact. Evolution is not only not true, but you don't need to argue from a religious or a Christian perspective at all. How is it that the apparatus of breathing came into being? The rhythmic, automated. I don't have to sit there and go, oh, Michael, got to take in a breath. You're going to die. You got to take in a breath. Automatic. How is it that you can hear? Define hearing. How is it the eye can see? Do you know how intricately intense the eye is? Evolutionists are fools. The Bible says it. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Romans lays it out. The very creation testifies the creator. Look at the human body. You have a penis that goes into a vagina and shoots a load of stuff called semen, which contains sperm. Those little things that wriggle into the woman's inside stuff and fertilizes an egg. Oh, that just happened by random accident. Atheists are religious and they're fools. And religion sends people to hell. Let me make that very clear. Jesus Christ did not come to promote religion. He blasted the religious leaders of his day. He was the fresh air that came across the Sea of Galilee, and people were intrigued by him. Some of them for the wrong reason. Some of them like Showtime for the sheep. Some of them followed him around because they saw him do miracles. We got dumb, ignorant, immature Christians in the US that follow cult personalities on TV that are millionaires and billionaires, smiling like Cheshire cats, not saying anything about hell, not telling people how to stand up for the faith against an evolutionist, but teaching a cheesy powder puff, Cheez-Its, cheese puff, cotton candy gospel, which has no effect in dealing with the roaring lions of demonism that rampage the land of America. Joel Osteen, Joyce Myers, Benny Hinn, Paula White, Kenneth Copeland, clowns, all. You go to the average church today, women can sit there in their shorts with their legs crossed, kick off their flip-flops, drink their Starbucks, and bring their dog in there and hold their cell phone while the pastor's preaching wearing a Hawaiian shirt thinking he's cool. Folks, we got a battle out there. The Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle against spiritual forces of wickedness. Do not be intimidated by atheists and so-called scientists. They're blowhards. Darwin himself admitted on his deathbed the fossil record was against him. They ignore those quotes. Charles Darwin himself began his quest because he had a hard time reconciling the existence of God with the existence of evil in the world. How many atheists have gone down that road? Nothing new. But if they would simply understand the word of God, which they can't because they're a natural man, when we ate of the fruit, that was the curse. Did anybody fail to notice there was another tree in the garden that Adam and Eve were free to eat from, and they did not? It was called the tree of life. Instead, they chose the tree that God forbade. If you don't believe me, read it for yourself. The cherubim were put with flaming swords. God said, let us keep them out of there so that they don't go and eat from the tree of life. They were supposed to eat from the tree of life first. Feminism was started in the garden. God, who is represented as he, pronouns, folks, told you can eat from any tree in the garden, not that one. Nobody knows what it is. People say it was an apple. No, it wasn't. We don't know. I have a feeling whatever fruit was on that tree, that doesn't exist anymore. God put it as a test. God knew what was going to happen. God wasn't like, oh no, they ate. He wasn't sitting on his throne panicking. He knew exactly what Adam and Eve would do. And Eve believed the lie that God was holding out on her. He doesn't want you to know good and evil. Woman, listen to this. The man doesn't want you empowered. Actually, to the contrary, to believe in God and to obey him is empowerment. Our age is not taught that today. Okay, I'm human. I've made mistakes, but as I get older, it's so clear that we get away from God's ways. We reap the whirlwind. I've seen it in my personal life. I've seen it in our society. Do not be intimidated by the barking and gnashing and growling of atheists. They're not standing on truth. They're standing on circular brainwash. What they call facts is circular argumentation. The fossil record stands against them, just as it did Darwin. And who cares about Dawkins? All he was a snarky, rude idiot that wrote The God Delusion. He comes back with no empirical evidence or fact. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, signs of satanic activity. We talk about the fruit of the spirit. Let's talk about the fruit of the devil. Mocking, put downs. I went hard at it against some atheists one day, and a guy says, wow, that's interesting. You can gaslight all of us. Call it whatever you want. Some Christians need to gaslight these atheists because we've been seen as the weaker little tail between the legs dog. Oh, they don't agree with me. You'd stand up and fight like a lion and say, you guys are full of crap. You're full of crap. Oh, I got a science degree. Where's your evidence, pal? Anybody that believes that this body, that the ears, the eyes, the nose, the placement of everything is clearly evidence of a designer and doesn't believe that is a fool. I don't care how much education that clown has. You believe a lie from the devil. And what's really interesting about that is the devil doesn't even deny the existence of God. Atheists do. And the devil's laughing to the bank. I got these fools. I got them. I got them. When an atheist dies, they're going to know immediately. Oops. I guess I believe the wrong stuff. I think of the old McDonald's commercials, and I can just hear, Hamburglar and all the Ronald's buddies. What, wrong again, Ronald? Huh? Atheists are fools in that they declare there is no God. And I've said it before. Science has been hijacked by evolutionists. Early scientists were Christians. Louis Pasteur, Newton, others had at least a verbal admission that God existed. Today's modern scientists deny God, make fun of people who believe contrary to the dogma that they've been brainwashed into believing, and they mock them. It's interesting. The Bible says knowledge puffs up, even false knowledge. Look at Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. They're taught they're the only ones going to the highest level of whatever their fallacious belief system teaches them. Knowledge puffs up, even if it's false knowledge, even if it isn't factual knowledge. I remember years ago, anybody remember D. Malay? Excuse me. Oh my gosh, Pacific is blowing his nose on a video. Yep, sure am. D. Malay was a group of people, not D. Malay, excuse me, wrong word. Dungeons and Dragons. I think D. Malay was something to do for the kids with the offshoot of masonry or whatever. But the kids that were involved in Dungeons and Dragons were pimply faced, not handsome guys that were not blessed with good looks or physique. And some of them were just flat out strange and had a dark side to them. And suddenly they were living in the what is the role play world. Now it opened the door for them to imagine all kinds of crazy stuff of dragons and lore and funky shaped dice and all that. And it was a gateway into Satanism in so many ways. And it empowered them. Now they had their little buddy system, and you didn't want to mess with those guys. And people started becoming scared of them, said, those guys are creepy over there. I said, you know what? You take them one-on-one apart, they're nothing. They're into darkness. And now, just like a guy that joins a biker mentality, ooh, I feel brave because I'm with all these guys on Harleys. It's the same thing. And I don't argue the way most people argue. I argue from a common sense. Sometimes in our society, we can't see the trees through the forest. And I'm going to switch gears here because I've said enough about evolution. You turn it around. The next time these clowns say, oh, show me the evidence. I don't need to show you a darn thing. Show me the evidence and quit giving me links, dude. Argue from your own so-called greater wisdom. Prove it. You can't. Oh, well, there's a species that they found that has a tail and fins. Oh, you mean the one that was on the back of Geographic? Is it a retraction? Okay. Next. The fossil record simply tells testimony of a worldwide global flood where the great springs of the deep burst forth, the hydraulic pressure of the underground water table busting. Okay. Water coming out of these cavernous regions under the ground, and ground would sag in. Tectonic plates began with the land breaking apart and the land masses moving back. The clowns of the atheists left, saying, oh, where the water go? There was a big old flood. Okay, Barney, it's still there. You're going to tell me that the ocean was 29,000 feet tall? No. But did you know that the Himalayas are made from marine limestone? Bottom of the ocean once, huh? How'd that happen? It's like a conveyor belt, man. Look at the bottom of the ocean in geographical relief maps. The mid-Pacific Ridge, mid-Atlantic Ridge, ridges all the way around the world like the seam of a baseball. And as the land broke apart, guess what happened? Hydraulic pressure. And guess what happens when you take a sheet of something, take a carpet, take a throw rug, and bump it up against the kitchen wall? Oh, mountains. And in the Psalms, it says somewhere, look it up if you don't believe me. I just don't have the address. That she rebuked, the mighty waters fled, roared off the face of the earth. The valleys rose up, the mountains sank down, and the waters roared off the face of the earth. What is that talking about? That just seems to be a random. Christians don't want to understand something. They hide behind little phrases. Well, that's not important. Jesus is important. Okay, let's have some esoteric and that's what Calvary Chapel, that's what the Vineyard movement, that's what so many of these churches have become, is just this, I just want to know more of Jesus. This esoteric, emotional, drippy mess where guys are supposed to be gay acting towards Jesus, and we're not taught how to defend the faith. We're not taught how to wield the sword of the word of God, which is for the piercing and cutting through the BS that people put out to us. So many churches in the US are comfort zones and are not teaching people how to be warriors. Promise Keepers was a movement that pizzled. WWJD was a movement that pizzled. There is power, wonder working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power in the Word of God. And when you really embrace the Bible, when you are led by the Holy Spirit, you'll be able to stand up. It doesn't mean you'll get through to them, but you can silence, you can see their fallacious responses and just go, I'm done with you clowns. You haven't proven a thing. Just like abracadabra, with an atheist, round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. I mean, atheists think they're airtight. Oh, can God make a rock bigger than he can move? Answer yes. Oh, really? They got you. Answer no. Oh, really? They got you. Silly little questions that they made up as if that's proof. You can shred an atheist arguments like a cheese grater. Do not be afraid or intimidated by atheists. Atheists want to talk about religion and all the people that have been killed by it. They're right. But simply throw this back to them. Ask them how many atheists have killed people. Lenin, Stalin, Hitler, and all the other clowns and despots and tyrants. Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, yeah, atheists, controlling people, stripping them of their rights. The atheists want to scream about religion. I don't even want to talk about Catholicism. I don't endorse Catholicism. Catholicism is not Christianity. Catholicism is not Christianity. Islam is not Christianity. Buddhism is not Christianity. And true Christians, by and large, historically, are not condoning what the Catholic Church or any of these religions have done. Peter took out the sword, cut off the high priest's ear, and Jesus said, whoa, 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 no. If my kingdom were of this world, then my disciples would fight. Atheists like to argue from fallacious vista points. Oh, well, the Bible condones rape and killing, and it does never condones rape. That is a lie. And the Bible is an accurate document in that it shows the sins of men and doesn't hide them. Look at modern business today. Modern business is nothing but a liar. We're going to make it seamless. Oh, okay. American business always goes seamless, right? Call that company on your cell phone plan. Call Comcast/Xfinity. Let's change our name. Let's change our name. It's the same demon. They're quick to sign you up for business, but when you have a problem, La, 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 la. The girl from Ipanema for 10 hours. We're sorry. We know that your life is very important, but we have an unusual high call volume every time you call them. Yeah, modern business is a great model, isn't it? Run by dumb humans that can't get it straight, but they're fast when you want to sign up for service. Go on, take the money and run. That's the business model. We look at Joe Biden using the Ukraine, using D Day, the invasion of Normandy. I wish that I had supernatural power. I would take all these Democrats today. I would transport them back to June 6th or 7th or whatever, 1944, and drop them. No guns, nothing, on the beach of Normandy and say, okay, go and tell the world about spherical heating and get rid of those gas cars. Go out there and stand up for your BS, guys. I have no compassion for the Democrats in office today. They are a killing machine of 61 million people. And Americans yawn when I say that. A dog running out in front of traffic will elicit more emotional, caring response than me walking in a crosswalk and some nasty woman in an SUV with dog on lap, Starbucks in one hand, will come within 2 inches of hitting me. I'm going to say it, and I don't care if every American in this country is offended. America needs to heal itself. Dog OCD. Joe Biden going in and out of the courtroom. And yes, I bring all this together for all you atheists that tell me they don't like it when I talk about Jesus and preach. Then get off my channel. I don't compartmentalize faith. Faith is what you exercise to believe in the horse crap and the foolishness that is unsubstantiated. There is no empirical evidence whatsoever. But let me quote this to you, atheists. The second law of thermodynamics, the law of entropy, stands against your fallacious view of evolution. And why? Because everything is decaying and dying down. And all these years of believing in evolution, watch what's happening in America. Prove to me evolution is working. Businessmen making big money. Oops, slept with somebody they shouldn't have. A pastor of a giant congregation in Colorado Springs getting gay massages. Oops, there goes church. You got crime off the chain in this country. You got cops and employers and senators and politicians now afraid of the African American population. They're not busting them anymore. In my workplace, several black people, I'm in a majority black workplace. I am a very much minority. They were caught padding their time, claiming 80 hours a week, bragging about $3,000-$4,000 paychecks every 2 weeks. They were getting done with something and sitting on company property for 5, 6 hours, 4 hours, riding the clock, eating dinner, or parking out at a restaurant. One of these employees is not a good employer. Doesn't follow company rules, does whatever he wants. He is bisexual. He's shaped like big baby Huey. He's not handsome. He has no physique. He has dated women at work that were cute. Some of them were not. He is immature. If he doesn't want to come to work, he doesn't not only call, he's a no-show. Most places I worked at, that's grounds for termination. He, along with another female, both of them immature, both of them unsafe, both of them don't do what they're supposed to do, got busted. You think they got fired? You think they got suspended? They were called in by a black woman who said, I'm really disappointed in you. Let me do that. I'd be fired. And if I was in charge, I'd say you both of you out of here. You both have had problems. We've watched how you perform, and now this is the icing on the cake. Bye. I see it where I live. The police don't want to deal. We have a silly noise ordinance where I live that, according to an officer, he told me several years ago when I was having problem with a neighbor, a burned house, uninhabitable. He was living in his car on the property, regularly doing drug deals. Now, it's not just my opinion, that's a fact. Took the mufflers out of the car, a rice rocket fart car, tearing up and down the street, playing his thump thump boom boom, having all his loser punk friends come over with Crown Vicks and boom, and then opening the hood, the trunk, all four doors in a rainstorm across from me, blasting, making noise, being an idiot, being disrespectful, not just to me, but all the black people in the neighborhood. Said one neighbor and his wife next to me, I don't like all that. I said, neither do I. And I started doing what anybody would do, call the police. He went to the neighbor and said, that white boy called the police. He goes, what do you mean that white boy? I don't got no problem with him. It's about respect, man. You're tearing up and down the street. I got kids. My wife and I got kids, and you waking us up over here. I'm going to say this, and it's going to offend African Americans in the country, but they got a funny way of looking at the world. They think they can disrespect, do whatever they want. And they got this phrase they use out here about staying in their lane. Well, the problem is black people step in everybody's lane all the time. And when one of us says, hey, that's not okay, they're going to use fear and intimidation. This guy at work. Now, people have commented about my style, my long hair, my off the shoulder look. My, people think you're gay. I said, well, this guy is gay and y'all hang around with him, and I'm not gay. And you guys comment on my manner of dress. How many gay people do you see wearing shirt off the shoulder? Males. I have seen none to date. So, wrong assertion. Have you ever seen the male models in Europe? Some of them are not gay at all, and they do that. In fact, I just had a woman tell me the other day, I don't know why you don't go into modeling. I said, well, nobody's going to hire me, but it would be fun. And I've been very honest. I am masculine, but I have a feminine side. I had a guy message me the other day saying, you're cute. I said, thank you. Appreciate it. Well, where do you live? I said, dude, I'm not into men. People that are wrong like to put everything in a nice, neat little box. Atheists do this all the time. Oh, you're a religious person who believes lies. I said, I haven't said a word about God or God or anything. But you don't like it when I say that you guys are guilty of exercising faith. You say you don't believe in faith, you call it a crutch, but you sat down in that chair. You got in that elevator, you didn't check the cables to make sure they weren't frayed, did you? Atheists are the most foolish people in America and in the world, claiming they don't believe in faith. It takes more faith to believe they're cockamania and hoo-ha, because it isn't science. It's a crutch. It is a crock. Now, I'm going to say it again. Atheism's been spawned by people who have a hard time believing that there's God on the one hand and all this evil on the other. But atheists are part of the problem. By denying the existence of God, they have lied to children in the banner of science. And we all know that we were taught as kids, thou shalt not lie. But atheists do it all day long. The public education system and the media do it all day long. To believe what I believe is to be ridiculed and maligned and avoided by the secular world. We're mocked and laughed at. And though this world with devils filled, Martin Luther wrote a song, A Mighty Fortress is Our God. Y'all ought to listen to it sometime. I know you're all into modern music, but you ought to read the words. Martin Luther was standing up against the lies of Catholicism. And though he himself did not get totally free, and the Lutheran church that he pretty much started carried a lot of the Catholic trappings, he did get one thing straight. Nothing but the blood of the Lamb. that we can't work our way to salvation. He understood, he read the book of Romans as this little ballpark stadium lights came on and he got it. A mighty fortress is our God, a bulwark never failing. And though our ancient foe doth seek to work us woe, on earth is not his equal, but it says one little word shall fell him. How do we stand up against atheists and monsters and laughers and mockers? The truth. Why are they laughing so much? Why are they, you know what I like is they come to my Facebook page. Oh yeah, I looked at your pictures and I don't think you're a man. How did you go from the conversation, the post we're on, and me doubting the post to attacking my looks? Are you gay? Do you look at men and size up men and their looks? Or are you going to deal with the post? Oh yeah. Beavis and Butthead must have been started by atheists. They're not smart people. Stop believing that lie. We're supposed to respect them because they have many years of education into brainwash, into Marxism, into Lenin and Stalin. And they love to parade there. Look at all the wars started by religion. Look at all the wars started by atheists stripping people of their rights. Oh, good argument there, atheist. Atheists are defined by God as fools. Treat them as such. But let's go back to Biden. He doesn't know anything about D-Day. Biden has declared war on this country on American soil by his polluted thinking. He's declared war on conservatives. He's declared war on the truth. Keeps lying about the economy. Have you seen the videos about Walmart is struggling? Walmart, McDonald's, Red Lobster filed bankruptcy. How does this happen? They're sounding alarms about the coming economic disaster. Is the stage being set for the appearance of the Antichrist? I would think so. America's enjoyed the grace of God for a longer than usual time. But let's stop. Let's do an indent. I know I've got people that are anti-Semitic, and if you are, you don't belong on my channel. But hey, if you're going to listen to this and stick this in your pipe and smoke it, because I don't support anti-Semitism. I do not believe that Jewish people are without fault. Mark Zuckerberg, George Soros, Bob Walters, who's now dead, the Rothschilds, and the others, they're corrupt as hell. Okay, they're corrupt. They're money grubbing, corrupt people. Adolf Hitler was Jewish. He had some Jewish blood in him. Now go figure. He turned against his own people. But the UN. Now let's talk about the UN. Let's talk about another foolish organization. A group of clowns that set themselves up as to be the leader of the world and world peace. They even have a scripture at the foot of their building. They shall beat their swords into plowshares. No thanks to the UN. It is only by God, folks. Condemning the IDF for hitting a UN school. And Hamas claims dozens of children were killed. Oh, Hamas is a credible news source, right? Now let's back this truck up. Christians, people of thought, you can't see the trees through the forest. There's so much information being shot at us. You're just trying to get through your day. Watch this. Watch the sleight of hand here. When did the UN condemn Hamas for the raid on Israel in Israeli property and raping women and parading women through the streets? Where was the UN's condemnation of that? I thought so. It wasn't there. Where was the UN demanding they release the hostages? You want to know what somebody's all about? Look at that missing information. Look at that missing information. The UN is not on the side of good. It's defending Hamas. It's defending a terrorist organization. It's defending Gaza, which should be turned into a damn ashtray. The UN, the UN, the UN talking about these poor children that were killed. The Democrats. Aren't they funny people? Aren't they hypocritical? They support 61 million dead children in the name of abortion. A UN school was hit. I'm sorry to use some vulgarity, but there's a saying going around, fuck around and find out. Guess what? Gaza, fuck around and find out. You took people living in their own homes, doing their day-to-day business, and you bloodshed them. And you dragged women through the streets. One of them wasn't even Jewish. She was from another country. Oh, yeah, you guys are awesome. And then you paraded it in the streets. And when Israel reacted, y'all crying the blues. Look at what you did, dum-dums. Look, Palestinians, what you did by letting Hamas set up headquarters. And now you want to play victim. And you got Talib, a terrorist. Ilhan Omar, a terrorist, both anti-Semitic in politics in this country. We're going to listen to clowns like that? Both of those women should be deported. Talib is nothing but a blowhard. Drop her butt in the Gaza and say, here you go, here's your gun. You care so much about the Palestinians, put your feet on the ground, boots, baby. I love all these activists on the left. They're not doing a damn thing. Just like Colin Kaepernick, a fool, Mr. Afro. I'm not trying to get attention for myself, but I am adopted by white parents. But whites are bad. Oh, wait a minute. Your black parents abandoned you, huh? How come that isn't shouted on blast by CNN? You see, the news is hypocritical. The news is a bulldozing narrative of leftist bullshit. Pro Karl Marx, pro socialism. Oh, the environment's going to kill us. We got to change. We got to listen to Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg is a twat. She wasn't graced with good looks. She wasn't graced with a brain that works. And she got a ride on a diesel yacht. Privilege? Yeah. My childhood has been deprived of me. Oh, boy. We need to talk about the hypocrisy. Mike, how can you bring faith in God into politics? Because when you see foolish leaders denying God, foolish leaders endorsing evolution and communism and social, been doing this stupid little dirty adulterous dance with China, sending all of our jobs over there for cheap labor. And now we don't understand. And now we don't want to offend China. And who did all this? Republicans and Democrats. That's who. NAFTA. But the UN is not doing well when it comes to Russia. Because you know what Putin has said? And I applaud Putin for this. He says, no, we're not part of the UN. And we're a sovereign nation. And the US used to be. No one should listen to the United Nations. They will not let Israel have Jerusalem as their capital. Since when does a body of people get to tell a country what will be their capital? The UN is not of God. It is man's band-aid approach to bringing world peace. No God, no peace. No K-N-O-W, God, K-N-O-W, peace. The UN is not going about things the way God would. They're anti-Semitic to the core, condemning Israel for defending itself. Get this straight, folks. Condemning Israel for defending itself. And all the clowns and the leftists and the ignorant ignoramuses out there want to scream and yell, oh, Israel stole the land. Oh, gee, haven't we heard that in America? We stole the land from the Native Americans. Yes, those poor natives smoking their peyote buttons and ravishing and raping and destroying other tribes. The Lakota Sioux, they were peaceful, loving people. They couldn't leave well enough alone. They did raid on peaceful tribes and stole everything and put rocks in their fields and all kinds of nice things. But not every American came over here to mess with the natives. But blacks are being taught that whites are just so awful. Let's talk about how awful us whites are, shall we? Pick up anything in your house and tell me who invented it. Thank you. That cell phone that the black people can't put down any more than Asians or whites or Hispanics. That car you drive, oh yes, Mr. Ford was black, right? Steve Jobs was black, right? How about Thomas Alva Edison? He was black, right? How about Marconi? You know, the one that created the first Wi-Fi, the Marconi wireless. Do you all realize that the Marconi wireless had not been invented, every Titanic survivor and lifeboat would have died because no ship would have gotten through there. And by the time a ship did come through, nobody would have known the Titanic had sank. If it was for come quick danger, turned into SOS, save our souls, Titanic is in an iceberg. It is because of that device on the radio room of the Titanic. Harold Bride and Mr. Phillips, the two radio people on the Titanic, were feverishly working to send out the distress calls. Wi-Fi, baby. Those wires that went between the masts of the Titanic were wires that made it all the way to Cape Race, Newfoundland. And a little boy was in a the lighthouse, while dad went to the bathroom or something. And he heard something come in and put on the headset, "Dad, the Titanic's sinking." His dad was able to relay messages to New York. I'm sorry, but that's fascinating to me. If the Titanic did not have that Marconi wireless. But shall we go on? Who invented door hinges? Who invented Kleenex? Who invented dehumidifiers? Who invented ceiling fans? Who invented all the things that we take for granted? Mostly Caucasian European descended people. And blacks want to pull this crap that whites are bad, whites are bad, whites are privileged. Remember, blacks are enjoying that privilege too. They get to use everything that we invented while shit talking our race. And what should happen is they should not be allowed to use one thing we invented or have access to it. If we're so bad, then you go to an island and you invent your own shit. See, people don't like the way I think because it's like a punch in the face. Most Americans want to play plastic until they get in their cars. And what you see in this country, people criticize me for talking about drivers. You could fool people of who you are until they see how you drive your car. That is still true to this day. I don't care if you're a preacher. I don't care if you're LGBTQ, ABCD, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now I know my ABCs. Won't you come and be LGBT with me too? This is the world we live in today. We're worried about pronouns, worried about this. People get in their car. They don't care about traffic laws. They don't care about your safety. They're selfish and they're rude and they're nasty. And road rage, by the way, is going through the charts. I watched a dumbass in a motorhome on Facebook the other day. Did not get ahead of a semi. Just started moving over. Back corner engine compartment of the motorhome. Bumps the semi. Semi's trying to hold his lane and tears off part of the back of the motorhome, and the motorhome overcorrects, shoots across 3 lanes to the left, goes off into the ditch and flips the thing on his side. And I wanted to just stop and say, "Happy vacationing. Hey, boo-boo, let's help ourselves to a busted motorhome." I told somebody, if I see somebody driving bad and they get in an accident, I'm not stopping unless I'm involved. I'm not showing compassion for these fools. We are living in squewy times. Don't give up the faith, Christian. The world's going to laugh, gnash their teeth at us. There's a book that has told us what's coming. And listen to what they're saying. They want to get rid of cash. Biden wants to get rid of Cash App and PayPal. He wants to track every single dollar that moves. Why? Because the Democrats are greedy to suck your money away. This party does not want you or me to be as rich as them. Let me make that very clear. The Democratic Party has always been, this is their mantra. I got mine, screw you. This clown needs to be physically removed from office and shut down. We need to pull out of the Ukraine and say, we're not involved in this. Billions of dollars with a country that's got major problems. And the Democrats are all about priorities, aren't they? Sending money to Pakistan so that they can understand transitional trans people. You think I'm joking? Look it up. This administration blows money out of their butt cheeks for foolishness. We're not helping our country. How come this government, with all this money, they give $1 million to every American over the age of 18, legal American, that would do more to pump this economy up and stuff. But no, instead they give it to our enemies. Obama's been pumping money into Iran, a Muslim nation that hates our guts. Hypocrisy? All of this. And guess what Biden said the other day? Did you hear his laughable statement? But it's not funny, it's angry. The reason for all the illegals is Donald Trump. He tells all the Republicans not to sign anything. Is that even a fact? The minute that Biden got into office, he opened wide the border. Let him in. Yeah, let him in. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's climbing the wall. Do me a favor. Open the door. Tear down the fence. Give them voting rights. Give them driver's license. Give them access to housing and medical benefits. What kind of fool would do this? Fools that deny God. Fools that believe in evolution. Fools that believe in trashing hardworking Americans and bringing danger. Joe Biden has the blood of a young lady on his head. I believe she was killed, a Georgia lady, by illegals. This guy is an arrogant, I gotta shut my mouth. Pussy. Biden, I could do more push-ups. You need a cat o' nine tails with leather straps and broken pieces of glass in it and be whacked across the face and back until you can't breathe anymore. What you have done to this country is shameful. Supporting evil, endorsing abortionists, endorsing very wrong stuff, pushing trans, telling parents they don't have a right to tell their child, no, you're not going to transition and I'm not paying for it. Since when did the Democrats think they can interfere with parenting? Oh, wait. The UN's been for that for a long time. The UN is against individual property ownership. The UN is against individual gun ownership. The UN is against the right of a parent to educate their child. Oh, the Democrats are following suit. See, the Democrats want your children brainwashed in the public education system to turn against your parents, to turn against whites, to turn against conservatives, to turn against Christianity, to turn against true science, turn around and distort the facts and say, this is the truth. Anybody who believes CNN and the media is telling you the truth is really dumb. I've had people say, it's news, Mike. No, it isn't. It's spin. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. My bicycle, my bicycle. We live in a jacked up society. Somebody got on Facebook the other day to say, oh, you're voting for a felon. And I said, well, that's okay. You're voting for a mafia. I love when the Democrats and the evolutionists and all these people think that they're taking the moral high road. They're killers, folks. Teaching kids there is no God is the reason why kids are listening to violent rap music, obsessed with violent video games, have blatant disrespect. I have never seen kids to the degree of wretchedness that I have in the county that I currently live in. They are off the chain rude out here. No fear of anything unless a barking dog is chasing them. I was standing downtown one night and the lightning was pretty bad. It's very rough in Georgia. It is dangerous in Georgia. I mean, stepped out of the nightclub I was in for a moment and the lightning was dancing in the street. There's a tough black guy standing by me, and you heard the zzz, bam. That kid acts like he saw a damn ghost. More muscular to me. Terrified, ran in the front door. And they're looking at me like, white boy ain't afraid. Yeah, because I'm underneath the alcove and there's trees and buildings all tall, right there. I'm not worried about this thing hitting me. Kind of cool to stand there and watch it. But you stand up to these kinds of people and the crap that they do, they have no fear. They're totally wrong, and they have all the confidence that you're wrong for even addressing them. How do we get to an age where everything's turned around? Upside down, you tell me instinctively, you lie to me. This world today is a mess. This country is on dangerous thin ice. Biden has essentially declared war on Putin. Very unwise. Putin's a man who will think, and he'll wait for that opportunity of weakness. And Biden had better watch his step. All these Democrats can say whatever they want. There was no threat of war when Trump was at the helm. He met Kim Jong-un. They exchanged some friendly barbs back and forth, Yellow Man, Rocket Boy, but they met up. Not one Democrat made an effort to meet Kim Jong-un. They criticized Trump for doing it. The Democratic Party has more in common with the devil and the attributes of Satan. Mockers. They stand on fact. How do you have a party that's more focused on so-called spiritual heating, which is not, by the way, the biggest danger facing this planet? The biggest danger facing this planet is that you and me and all of us are sinners, and if we don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, we're going to hell. That's the greatest danger facing this planet. The next greatest danger facing this planet is God's judgment is going to come. And if you are not in a relationship with God, you're going to get it. You're going to suffer. And we see people like Zuckerberg building bunkers, making billions of dollars, censuring the hell out of anybody that disagrees with him in the holy see of social media oligarchy. Okay? But when the tribulation comes, if these people are alive when it hits, they're not going to have that privilege. When the bowl or the vial or the trumpet judgment comes down, wherever that hits, all those people are going to be affected by it. We live in an age of grace. And I struggle with this, viewers. I'm being very transparent here. I've always struggled because of what I went through with my mother. I've never seen justice. I see people getting away with stuff. I see bad drivers. And our society enables them to get it. Oh, never look them in the eye. You don't want to be guilty of road rage. Oh, okay. We just fold and we don't react. You notice what that's done? It enables more to do that. Where is the backbone? Where is the collective stand? The police are hypocrites. A couple of years ago when the clown was tearing up and down the street, I mean, driving really dangerous. I took a video, called the police, showed them the video. Well, we can't do anything with that. You can't make a ticket off of that? Well, we're not there to see it. I said, you can see his face, you can see the car. But watch this. If there's a video showing abuse or abuse of a child, oh, well, then they'll use it. Don't you love the police and their double standards and the laws and the dumbness of our country is not for us, folks. It's time for us to wake up to that. It's for the illegals, it's for the feminists, it's for the LGBT, it's for the corrupt politicians. This country was never built for righteousness. Are you getting it now? DC was laid out like a Masonic compass. Did you ever pay attention to that? We've always been taught justice, justice. You think Hunter Biden's gonna? That was the other lie yesterday. Did you hear that? Did you hear the biggest guffaw? The laptop is simply Russian disinformation, said the Democrats and the media. Actually, it was the guy working on the laptop. They called the FBI. The guy that Hunter dropped the laptop off. And what did he see in there? Underage girls, crack, Ukraine crap. The FBI saw it. They saw enough to be concerned, even though the FBI is bought and owned by the Democrat left and not valid anymore. But watch this. Now they're using the age-old argument for why Trump won. Russian collusion. They spent 4 years of taxpayers' dollars riding that hobby horse and had not one smoking gun evidence of that. But when Biden got elected, anybody that questioned, and there were ballots thrown in the trash. But watch Google and their baby knee-jerk immature reaction. Things we put into place to ensure that the election was done with integrity. Oh, we don't question Biden, but we questioned for 4 years Trump. Sore losers. You want to talk about the biggest crybaby in human history on a presidential race, Hillary Clinton. She was so shocked, so cockblocked, that she didn't even come out and release a statement, but hid and was probably cussing and screaming at the top of her little immature lungs, with all the Hollywood people sniveling and crying, all those makeup queens that dive in Olympic pools of makeup and think they're all that with their breast implants. Hillary Clinton is personified evil. The Democratic Party is an extension of the devil and his minions. And I would say it to their face. CNN is an operative. MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS, PBS, NPR, CNN, all of them. The National Enquirer is more credible than the liberal news networks. And even with Joe Biden's poll numbers dropping, those news agencies still keep beating the drum of misinformation. Still, CNN's lost viewers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You tell a lie long enough, people start to believe it. The laptop, that doesn't even make sense. Russian disinformation. Then why is there stuff on there that Hunter put in there? His ex-wife came to testify about his crack, his gun, my neck, my back. Hunter got pussy and crack. Isn't this entertaining? But watch what happens. Watch the magician perform in the Democrat left. Notice that Jill's going in and out of that courtroom defending a piece of trash called her son. And you think that there isn't a message that she's stating there? Hi, people. I want you to see me. This is my son. You better do right. Joe Biden is a loser. Do you know the story about how Joe got her? She was dating somebody, but she cheated on him because she's a wannabe blonde. And remember, Joe Biden called the Mexicans Taco Bell voters. Did you notice that CNN and the liberal news networks didn't say a damn thing about that? Let a white person say that, he's a racist. but a Jill Biden says it, it's just meh. The hypocrisy of the left is self-evident. I don't need a political science degree. I don't need a geological or science degree to stand up against atheists. All you need is common sense, because evolution is not common sense. It's not truth. It's not based in truth. They haven't found evidence. They say they got evidence. They haven't shown anything that's proven. Smoking gun. They'll sit there and counter with their dumb circular reasoning. Well, you can't prove it. God, it does. And you can't prove he doesn't, dumb. So where are we? You're going to sit here and tell me that 2 ears and 2 eyes and all the symmetry of a human being. How about this one? Our hands are designed like this, not like this. How come there's a hand coming out of my head? How come the eye isn't under my underarm? You see, atheists are stupid. It doesn't matter how many science degrees they have. They're dumb to believe that there's no design of a human being, no design of a cosmos where if Earth moves so many degrees this way or this way, we'd either burn up or freeze to death, that the rotation of the Earth is perfect, that the planets are hung in space. Really, that just all happened by accident, and they maintain the same trajectory. And there's no designer. Any idiot that believes that crap that atheists believe is truly an idiot. I don't care how much college they have. It's rot. So don't be intimidated by their so-called degrees. Degrees of what? BS? And that's what it is. Geology is not objective anymore. It is based on theory. Radiocarbon dating is based on subjugated crap. The half-life. Okay, so we got to come up with these gay formulas. The half-life of what? How do you know it's not the quarter life? How do you know it's not the eighth life? How do you know it's not the 3/4 life? You see, speculative conjecture. That's not fact. When a clam was dated at 7,000 years old that was living, you got to start asking some questions. Your dating process is based on theories of quagmired BS, assumptions that cannot be proven. You're going to tell me a petrified tree is millions of years old. That's funny. Nobody bothered to pay attention to what happened after Mount St. Helens. Petrification occurred rapidly. I find it interesting that there were woolly mammoths encased in glacial ice with the food still in their stomach, undigested. Have you heard the crap that comes out of evolutionists' mouth for that one? Did you know that the Klondike Rush in Alaska back in the day, when the minor 49ers were cruising on up there to find gold, they fed their huskies mammoth meat as the glaciers were melting? How do you get a beast like that, a hairy mastodon, flash frozen? Did anybody answer that? You know, after the flood of Noah happened, you know what happened, right? The earth cooled significantly. Now you have the harmful UV coming in. Does anybody know, with all that humidity, all that wet earth, do you know what happened? Now you have that protective vapor canopy that was existed in Genesis is gone. And you know what happened? I think people don't want to admit this, but I think snow fell in record amounts you would never see today. Snowed so much that a woolly mammoth moving, just like the flood, had nowhere to go. The snow got so deep and the snow was everywhere, and it just kept coming down and encased and killed it. And the meat's still good. How many years later? Interesting, isn't it? We haven't even begun to find all of the dinosaur fossils and stuff that's out there. La Brea Tar Pits, downtown Los Angeles. I went there as a kid. They've pulled stuff out of the tar pits saber-toothed tigers, animals that jumped on the back of another that stepped in it and started going down. The Bible refers to that as bitumen. It's funny that evolutionists and atheists laugh at people of faith, but that's the secular world, folks. God told Noah to build an ark and make it out of acacia or gopher wood or whatever, and use bitumen. The ark had no compass, no rudder, no helm, no sails, no engines, no navigation equipment. The Titanic had all of that. And on its first trip, made it to the bottom of the sea. Evolutionists like to mock the Bible and make fun of it. But that ark was not just a literal boat. It was also a symbol of our faith. We believe in Jesus Christ. We put ourselves in the ark of God's mercy. That when the judgment of God happens, we are safely in the hand and protection of the Almighty. And for all those clowns out there that believe we're going through the tribulation, prove it. We will go through suffering. But this time of Jacob's trouble is called that for a reason. It is not for the church. It is not for the church. It is not for the church. That 7-year tribulation is for the world and for Israel. The bride of Christ has been removed. I will keep thee from the hour of trial that shall come upon the whole world. Why? Because it says in the Bible, God has not appointed us unto wrath, but to obtain salvation. And what is wrath? The tribulation is the wrath of God. It's the judgment. It's tribulation. We and Zuckerberg and Gates and Soros and all these clowns, the Rothschilds, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, they have no idea what's coming. You think Zuckerberg's going to be safe in his bunker? As if God can't take care of Zuckerberg. That bunker could collapse on his own self. Judgment is coming, folks. It's just a matter of when, not if. The hypocrisy of all the fools that I've mentioned, the Democrats, the atheists, false religion, they're all one and the same, and they're all going to the same place. That's why I love these uppity women that think they're all that on a stick that are feminist. To the atheist, to the college prof, to the Stalin and Lenin and Karl Marx supporters. They're all going to be in the same place, but they won't be able to have fellowship. They'll be isolated from one another and from God, weeping and gnashing of teeth where the worm dieth not. It's called hell. It can't come soon enough for people like this. And I don't feel sorry for people like this. How can I? You shake your fist at God, you think you're airtight in your argument, and you mock true children of God. It's a good place for you. Evolution is not true, folks. The Democratic Party is not doing righteousness. Joe Biden has created a very unsafe America. Crime has risen, the cost of living has risen, and Biden's living in a world of unreality, as are all the Democrats. Stuffing their accounts, stuffing their bank accounts. They don't care. But we who are Christians need to remind ourselves that God our Father loves us and cares for us, promised to meet our needs, not our greeds. And no matter what this world dishes out, we could go through suffering. We will go through suffering. But God is only going to allow to happen to us what he allows to happen to us. Biden and the Democrats are not sovereign, only God is. And God will eventually cut them off at the knees. And what a day of rejoicing that will be. This is Pacific signing off.